Hi, my name is Shelby Todd, and the book I chose for my book talk is The Outsiders by S.E. Hinton, and it is a young adult fiction novel. I think it'd be good for middle school students to read this book just because they could probably relate to a lot of the things that go on during the book. Um, a little bit about S.E. Hinton. She started writing the book when she was 15 and it got published 2 years later, and she's from Oklahoma. And she used her initials whenever she published the book just so male reviewers wouldn't dismiss the book because she was a female writer, because not a lot of women wrote or published things back then, so she just didn't want them to toss it aside without even considering it and thinking, I'm not going to read this, it's not going to be any good, a girl wrote it. So, but using her initials worked, and everything that she published after that, she used her initials for. Um, a little, the main points of the book, there's a lot of really good points of the book, but uh, the main points are that it is told from the point of view of Ponyboy, and he's 14 years old, and he struggles with the rights and wrongs in the society that he lives in. And I guess the social groups you could call them of the society he lives in are the Socias and the Greasers. And the Socias, sort for socials, they are the richer, more sophisticated kids from the west side of town that do and get whatever they want without any consequences. And the Greasers are the poor, rougher kids from the east side of town, and they get in trouble for everything. And they're called the Greasers because their hair is long and greasy. Of the main points of the book, his, Ponyboy is a greaser, and his friend Johnny stabs, or he didn't just stab, he killed a social, Bob, because some socials pulled up one night when they were walking around and started drowning Ponyboy. And so Johnny was like, I've got to do something, he's killing my friend. And so he kills Bob, and they go ask their friend Dallas, who's a grazer, for some help. He gives them a hideout, tells them to stay there until he comes and gets them. He eventually, about 5 days later, comes and gets them, and Johnny's like, I want to turn myself in, so I don't want to hide anymore. It was self-defense. I'll just turn myself in because I did nothing wrong. They were going to kill Ponyboy if I didn't do something. And so Dally takes him back home so Johnny can turn himself in, and on their way there, they notice that the abandoned church they had been staying in is on fire. And there's like a school group there, and some kids are trapped inside of the burning building, or the burning church. And so Johnny and Ponyboy run inside, grab the kids, and the roof starts collapsing. And Ponyboy gets out in the nick of time, but Johnny doesn't. The roof falls on him, breaks his back. He gets really bad burn. They have to go to the hospital, and Ponyboy gets to go home, but Dally and Johnny have to stay there. And Ponyboy gets reunited with his family, which is only his brothers, Soda Pop and Dally, because their parents died in a car wreck a few years earlier. And him and Ponyboy and Derry, his brother Derry, don't really get along that well. They just fight all the time, but whenever Soda Pop, Derry, and Ponyboy get reunited, they decide they're going to be one big happy family, and everything's going to be good, and they're going to get along, and so they get reunited, and a rumble happens between the Socias and the Greasers over the death of Bob, and so that rumble happens, and the Greasers win, and I don't want to tell you the rest because it's so good, because that's going to be the hook of the book, but some stuff goes on between then. Two of the main characters die, and then later on after that, the trial happens for the death of Bob, and the judge drops all the charges, so everything's good. But then after that, Ponyboy is just really depressed and distraught, and um, him and his brother Derry are fighting again, and his grades drop, and he's just a wreck. Um, but everything starts to turn around. His grades come back up whenever his teacher tells him he can write an autobiography, and if he does really good on it, then he can pass his class with a C. And he does it, and the autobiography he writes is his story of everything that happened with the Socs. And then that's the end of the book. But the highlight of the book for me would have to be when Ponyboy and Randy, a Soc, Randy and Bob were best friends, but when Ponyboy and Randy meet up, and Randy tells him, he's just like, I'm not into this I'm over all this Soc and Greaser things, like, it's stupid, all this violence for no reason, like, that he just tells him that he wishes everything could be okay. And Ponyboy says, me too, but whatever. And Randy tells him he's not going to be involved in the Rumble just because he doesn't want any more part in this Soc and Greaser's thing. So I think that was the highlight, just to show that, like, the Socs did have feelings too, and not all of them are bad. And maybe it took something bad to happen for the Socs and the Greasers to realize, but I think that's a really good point in the book. My opinion of the book, I really liked it, but two of the main characters died, and I was not too happy about it because I really liked them, and I didn't want them to die, and I thought this was going to be a happy-go-lucky book, and everything comes out good, and it didn't. So, but it is a really good book. I really enjoyed it personally. I know I can't relate to it because I don't never killed anyone, or my friends have never killed anyone, but I can relate to the whole social groups thing for sure. So I thought it was a really good book, and the hook of the book would have to be the two of my favorite characters dying, and I'm not going to tell you who they are because you'll have to read the book to find out, because it's a really, really good book, and I can't believe I haven't read it until just now, but you'll have to read the story to find out who does. But that is my book talk. I hope you had fun. Bye!